Jasmine Carter, a successful black CEO, walks into her own luxury hotel, only to be denied a room by the receptionist. Moments later, she watches as a white couple is offered a suite. When she reveals her identity as the owner, the entire lobby falls silent. The manager stammers, offering excuses, but Jasmine isn't here for apologies, she's here for accountability. With one powerful decision, she ensures respect is no longer optional in her company. If you love these types of stories, don't forget to comment down below where you're watching from. You can support us by liking and subscribing to our YouTube channel. Jasmine Carter had spent the last decade building her hotel empire from the ground up. A child of humble beginnings, she was raised by hard-working parents in Atlanta who instilled in her the values of perseverance, kindness, and never letting anyone define her worth. From the time she was a little girl, she had dreamed of owning a chain of luxury hotels, a dream that had driven her to work tirelessly. And now, at the age of 42, she was the CEO of Carter Luxury Hotels, a thriving business with locations in some of the most prestigious cities across the country. One crisp autumn evening, Jasmine decided to visit one of her newest properties, the Carter Grand in Chicago. It was an unannounced visit. She often liked to see how her employees performed when they weren't expecting an inspection. Dressed in a tailored navy blue business suit, she stepped into the grand lobby with her rolling suitcase in hand. The lobby was buzzing with guests, the marble floors gleamed under the soft golden lights, and a soothing melody played from the speakers. Jasmine took a deep breath, proud of what she had built. She walked up to the front desk where a young white receptionist, Hannah, stood behind the counter. Hannah barely glanced at Jasmine before forcing a polite, tight-lipped smile. "Good evening, welcome to Carter Grand. How can I help you?" she asked. Jasmine smiled warmly. "Good evening. I'd like to check in. I have a reservation under Jasmine Carter." Hannah's smile faltered as she looked at the computer screen. She typed the name in and frowned slightly. Jasmine could see the confusion on her face as she glanced back up. "I'm sorry, but I don't see a reservation under that name," she said. Jasmine nodded. "That's okay, I'll book a room now." Hannah hesitated, then said, "Actually, I'm afraid we're fully booked." Jasmine raised an eyebrow. She knew for a fact that wasn't true. She had checked the availability before she arrived. "Are you sure about that?" she asked calmly. "Yes, ma'am," Hannah said, avoiding eye contact. Just then, a white couple stepped up beside Jasmine. The man, wearing a sharp gray suit, smiled at Hannah. "We need a room for the night. Any availability?" he asked smoothly. Hannah's face lit up. "Of course, Mr. Peterson. We have several deluxe suites available." Jasmine folded her arms across her chest. "That's interesting," she said, her voice even but firm. "Because just now, you told me there were no rooms available." Hannah's face turned red. Before she could say anything, the hotel manager, Brian, stepped out from the office. He was a middle-aged man with graying hair, wearing an expensive suit. His eyes landed on Jasmine, and he immediately frowned. "Is there a problem here?" he asked, his tone impatient. "Yes," Jasmine said, standing her ground. "I was just informed that there are no rooms available. But then I watched as this gentleman was offered multiple options." Brian looked Jasmine up and down, his expression unreadable. Then he turned to Hannah. "Is there a reservation under this woman's name?" "No, sir," Hannah said quickly. Brian turned back to Jasmine with a smug smile. "I'm afraid we can't accommodate walk-ins at this time." Jasmine exhaled slowly. She had encountered discrimination before, but it never ceased to sting. Still, she wasn't about to let this slide. Reaching into her purse, she pulled out her phone and scrolled to an email. "Since you don't recognize me," she said, her voice calm but commanding, "perhaps this will refresh your memory." She held up her phone, displaying an email from corporate headquarters, an email with her signature as CEO. Brian's face drained of color as he read the screen. Hannah's eyes widened in horror. The realization dawned on them like a slap to the face. Why are Hannah stammered. Yes, Jasmine said firmly. I'm Jasmine Carter, the owner of this hotel, and you both just refused me service in my own establishment. The lobby fell silent. Guests nearby paused their conversations, watching the unfolding scene with curiosity. Brian's confidence evaporated instantly, and he began stammering excuses. Miss Carter, I had no idea. That's the problem, Jasmine interrupted. You didn't even bother to check. You took one look at me and assumed I didn't belong here. Brian gulped. It was a mistake, truly. Please, let me offer you the best suite in the hotel. On the house. Jasmine shook her head. I don't want a free room. What I want is accountability. She turned to Hannah. And you, why did you lie? Hannah looked down, ashamed. I don't know. I just assumed. You assumed I didn't belong, Jasmine finished. This is exactly why I work so hard, to make sure people who look like me don't have to keep proving themselves in spaces they already earned. By now, the entire lobby was watching. Some guests nodded in agreement, others murmured to each other in shock. Jasmine turned back to Brian. You and Hannah can clear out your desks. First thing tomorrow morning, I want your resignations on my desk. Brian's mouth fell open. Ms. Carter, please. This isn't up for debate, she said. I will not allow this kind of treatment in my company. With that, she turned and walked away, leaving Brian and Hannah frozen in place, their faces pale with regret. As she rode the elevator up to her penthouse suite, Jasmine felt a mix of emotions, anger, disappointment, but also pride. She had built something incredible, and she wouldn't let anyone tarnish it. And most importantly, she had just reminded everyone in that lobby that dignity and respect weren't optional, they were expected. And that was a lesson they wouldn't forget anytime soon.